Hi everyone, I'm Tim Estiloz, and buckle up for a fun-filled blast from the past edition of Backstage. Now, if you were a Philadelphia teenager in the 1950s, there was only one of two places that you were likely to hang out right after school. One was in front of your family's TV set, and the other was dancing on live TV to your favorite rock and roll star's latest hit on American Bandstand. Bandstand was a show that influenced the way teens dressed, the way they danced, and the music they listened to. If it had a good beat and you could dance to it, you'd find it on American Bandstand.
This is WFIL-TV, the Philadelphia Inquirer station.
Live from Philadelphia, it's time for America's favorite dance party, American Bandstand. And now, here's the star of our show, Dick Clark.
It's an anniversary day with scrapbooks of memories and some shows that have gone by. Unfortunately, most of the shows have been live.
American Bandstand is celebrating a birthday. It was 50 years ago that Bandstand, hosted by Dick Clark, became a national teen phenomenon. A landmark dance show that turned both young recording artists and the show's teenage dancers into overnight superstars.
Elaine, I think you've really truly earned the honor of introducing the man you've been so devoted to. It's written out if you want to read it. You can say it any way you want.
Okay, here's a man whose records have sold over 2 million copies, who plays to standing room only all over the country, who just flew in from Nashville, Tennessee to be with us tonight. His name is Jerry Lee Lewis.
That's right, his record, Great Balls of Fire.
You take my nerves and you rattle my brain. In my love, rattle man's thing. You broke my wheel, I bought a wheel. Little crazy, great balls of fire.
Dick Clark did more for the record business, did more for young America, more for rock and roll artists than any other personality, any other TV guy in the country.
Dick Clark's American Bandstand was the showcase for rock and roll recording artists from the 1950s through the late 80s. But what made it special was its format.
This one's called Rock Around the Clock. Bill Haley.
1, 2, 3 o'clock.
It was a unique blend of live but lip-synced performances and old-fashioned dance party.
We're gonna rock around the clock tonight. Put your glad rags on. Join me home. We'll have some fun when the clock strikes 1. We're gonna rock around the clock tonight.
That was the great part of the show. I mean, you just couldn't wait to see who was going to be on the next day because you get so excited about seeing these people. Because we bought their records. I mean, we danced to their music. Of course, when they came, you couldn't wait to see them.
There's nothing like live television. And of course, being on Bandstand, I mean, that was happening right now around this entire country. 5 million kids a day are watching you.
American Bandstand wasn't just live. At the very beginning in 1952, it was also local. Bandstand belonged to Philadelphia's teenagers. And as portrayed in the TV show American Dreams, they waited in long lines to be on the air after school.
All right, who wants to be on American Bandstand? Hey, you two, you beauties right there. Yeah, no. Yeah, you go see my man up there, all right? Fellas, maybe you. Yeah, you, go ahead. How you doing, ladies? No, not today.
From 1952 to 1956, Bandstand locally was the hottest afternoon dance show. It was one of the first TV dance shows of its kind.
Philly disc jockey Jerry Blavat should know. At age 13, he was one of the original dancers on Bandstand. And the original host locally before Dick Clark was a man named Bob Horn.
Bob Horn was probably the highest paid local TV guy and the most popular local guy in Philadelphia because, you know, if teenagers latch on to you, I mean, you're made. And Bob Horn's Bandstand was the first of its kind, and kids would run home just to see who was dancing.
But eventually, Dick Clark was hired to replace Horn, and the show took off to even greater heights under Clark's own special connection with the kids.
He was like a big brother to us. You know, when you misbehaved, he tell you, and he was the boss, but he was also like a big brother.
I wanted you to read this article to the folks who are watching at home. I thought they would be interested in what is labeled a dream faculty. It says, wouldn't school be wonderful if we had a faculty like this? You read it, all right?
Principal, Sal Mineo. Vice Principal, Tony Perkins. General Math, Frankie Avalon. Study Hall, Johnny Mathis. Art, James Darren. Advisor, Dick Clark.
Bless you.
Now, back in the day when kids bought 45s instead of CDs, the kids on American Bandstand could make or break a new song in terms of success on a daily segment called Rate a Record. And if your song had a good beat and was easy to dance to, you had a great shot at a #1 hit.
Panel, we'd like to know which side you prefer. This is the side the title of the latest motion picture, a thing by the Beatles called A Hard Day's Night. Well, that's one side. It's called A Hard Day's Night. Now, Linda, you come close here. We'll get your impression. We're not going to take a rating this time. We're going to play both sides. What did you think of it?
Well, it had a real good beat, and I think the kids would really enjoy it. I think it'll go pretty far.
The one that we just heard was too monotonous. It's just like the ones they do all the time. It's over and over again, the same lyrics, the same everything.
So you vote for side #1? All right, fair enough. Our panel here says the #1 side, the side that will become the hit, is a thing called A Hard Day's Night by the Beatles.
If it weren't for Dick Clark's bandstand, Frankie Avalon, Bobby Rydell, Chubby Checker, Dion, Darren, Connie Francis would not have been as big as they are today.
And that's the enduring legacy of American Bandstand. It not only launched the careers of dozens of music legends, but it also created timeless, unforgettable memories for several generations of teenagers. Now, many of the teens that watched American Bandstand learned their favorite dances by watching their favorite couples on the show. And these dancing duos were known by their first names alone: Bob and Justine, Kenny and Arlene, and many others. And they didn't have to have a hit record to be famous, just some cool clothes and some smooth moves on the dance floor. Music was a key ingredient on every American Bandstand show. But you can't have great rock and roll music without great dancing. And one thing American Bandstand had plenty of was talented dancers, especially when it was in Philadelphia.
In Philly, you did the cha-cha, you did the mambo, you did the jitterbug, you did the stroll. I mean, you did the stomp, you did the mashed potatoes. It all came from Philadelphia. You did different style dances to every different record.
Come on, everybody, let's hop.
American Bandstand was a daily rock and roll dance party and high school sock hop all rolled up into one high-energy after-school event.
I remember a lot of people saying, how can the parents let these kids go to this dance show every day? The same reason they let their kids go to drama class after school, play football after school. They saw us. They knew what time we got out of there, and they knew where we were and what we were doing.
And what the kids were doing was simply having fun.
I think if the parents today had a show like that, they'd be counting their blessings.
Live from Philadelphia, it's time for America's favorite dance party, American Bandstand.
Bandstand started each weekday live at 3:30, and the kids came directly from school to the studio. While the TV crew was setting up, the kids, mainly from the local Catholic school, arrived ready to dance the afternoon away, including a very shy Arlene Sullivan.
I was a shy kid growing up, and I used to come home every day, and my mother would have Bandstand on. And I sat down with my mom, and she knew all their names. She knew Jerry Blavat, she knew Tommy DeNomo, Barbara Morrison, all these kids. I found it fascinating. But I loved the way they danced. And being so shy, I never dreamed that I would ever go to that show.
But Arlene did get on the show, and she soon found herself a regular dance partner, just like the main character on the TV show American Dreams.
Just dance with me, McFly from East Castle.
Now, if you were a fan of American Bandstand, then you definitely had the all-American dream of someday becoming one of the featured dancers that appeared on the show each day. And if you were lucky enough for that to happen, then you suddenly became a big-time teenage TV star.
Jerry, are you in this hassle with the crazy one here? All right. Jerry Blavat.
And what do you do, sir?
Geator with the heater.
This man is probably the most prominent young people's disc jockey in the city of Philadelphia and Camden, New Jersey.
When I went back locally in my neighborhood, I was like, wow, hey, saw you this afternoon dancing, man. Saw you doing the cha-cha, saw you doing the stroll, saw you jitterbugging. Man, you were out of sight. So you lived in a neighborhood, and you were a star in your neighborhood, but you really did not become affected by it.
When American Bandstand went national, other dancing stars emerged among the teen regulars. Two of the biggest audience favorites were Justine Corelli and Bob Clayton.
The movie's over, it's 4 o'clock and we're in trouble deep. Wake up, please, Susie.
Along with her partner Kenny Rossi, shy little Arlene Sullivan became so famous they became teen magazine superstars.
Chances are, 'cause I wear a silly grin.
People started to write me letters. Why? I didn't know. I wasn't the prettiest girl. I wasn't the best dancer. I wasn't a fashion plate. But for some reason, I got these letters. We would average maybe 1,000 letters, 1,500 letters a day.
In fact, the dancers on Bandstand became so popular, they even influenced teen fashion.
The boys dressed in suits and ties. The girls were always dressed properly. And if you wore a school uniform, you would have to wear a sweater because the nuns would get very upset if you had your emblem showing. And that collar would stick out. And all over America, they wanted to know where they could get that blouse, that collar. But it was really a uniform collar.
You had to look good, you had to be a classy kid, you had to know how to dance.
Every dancer on Bandstand has a favorite memory.
I'm just a lonely boy.
For Arlene, it was when her teen idol Paul Anka asked to meet her.
He said to me, Arlene, I wanted to meet you because every time my song comes on and you're dancing in front of the camera, you seem like you really love my song. I said, Paul, I love your song, Diana, and I love you.
The kids in Philly also love their own unique style of dancing, and they're fiercely proud of it.
In LA, when you watch Bandstand, those kids would dance every song, every record, the same dance. Kids in Philly would develop steps.
Believe it or not, back in the late 80s, I got my very own chance to be a dancer for a couple of shows on American Bandstand. And I gotta tell you, it was a blast. Now, if you look closely, you might see me in that crowd. I'll be the one wearing the cheesy Miami Vice outfit. Okay, there I am, trying to look cool, but instead looking more like Philip Michael Thomas on a bad hair day. I can't believe we actually dressed like that back then, but come on, it was the 80s. For me, like Jerry and Arlene, there are few lasting memories that compare with having my own moment in the American Bandstand spotlight.